Hey girl! Welcome back to the Bliss Code Podcast, your weekly dose of self-mastery. I'm your host, Jamie Drew, founder of the Bliss Code, the 8-step formula to help you elevate to your next level. Join me as I explore the unboring side of personal development. We'll talk about everything from mindset hacks to manifestation and, of course, main character energy. So girl, are you coming or what? Hey girl. So today we are going to be talking about a couple of things. The inspiration for your magic, right? The inspiration when you get your ideas, it doesn't all come when it's scheduled, right? And sometimes, people in the past, people that are creatives or business owners or whatever, they get these ideas at random times. And so much so that they had to have you heard of people carrying a little notebook around with them? Carrying a little notebook around with them in their pocket. You know what? This is probably where the term pocketbook comes from. A lot of people use that to mean a purse, but I swear pocketbook probably originated somewhere with somebody carrying a book in their pocket to jot down little ideas, So it's very valuable. It's very valuable. And it's been valuable for me as a podcast host to be able to, record whenever I want to. Just whenever I have the inspiration, I pick up my phone and I get to recording. And that's what I do. And you've got to hear it in the moment because that's where all the ideas flow. That's where all the passion lies and everything. So I have these little, I don't know if you want to call it a download or just a little rant. It's just, or a stream of consciousness. I just kind of flow at times. And this next upcoming segment that you're going to hear is after I was walking, actually. I was hiking out in nature like I love to do. And something, I don't even know what it was that triggered it, but something got me thinking about the 4 a.m. wake up. And I don't wake up at 4 a.m., but I think this is a very good thing for some people to consider. If you need that quiet time before everybody else gets up. And that kind of takes me back to the whole pocketbook thing that I was talking about in the beginning, just inspiration coming at random times. And then I start to wonder, wait a minute, is it not a random time where this inspiration comes and it just comes when you are no longer distracted? I just thought about that because it's okay, 4 a.m. is a time when nobody else is awake. Boom, you get inspiration ideas, you can get things done. Or being in the shower, where a lot of people get their downloads, their ideas, their inspiration, they get to clear their thoughts, their head. This is a moment where you're by yourself, you're undistracted, you're living a non-distracted moment in your life. Or in the car, you're driving to work, you're driving home, whatever it is, you're driving someplace that you're familiar to. So you don't really have to pay attention to the directions so much. And if you're in the car by yourself, boom, you get a moment where there's nobody else in there. And you get these ideas and downloads and these thoughts. And you get to kind of self-soothe in that way when you are by yourself and taking that moment and having that spurt of inspiration. So I guess it could be any moment that you're practicing silence, any moment that you are undistracted, the inspiration could come. That's why I always talk to people about, the freedom that is within boredom and the gift it is to be able to be bored. Because your brain will seek the stimulation. You will begin to look for something. So make that a goal of yours to get bored. And shout out to my friend Carly Burr. She's on YouTube. Please check her out. She talks about you're building your offline presence. So disconnecting from social media is what she really preaches. And actually for the past, I don't know, has it been 2-3 days? It's been a few days that I have been disconnected from watching really anything. I do my social media, upload my videos for my business or what I'm doing and everything. But for the remainder of the day, besides that 20 minutes or whatever it takes me to post, I am completely immersed in my actual offline presence, my in-person experience instead of my digital experience. So meaning, not watching Netflix and not being on my phone. And that's been very difficult. But that has been giving me these non-distracted pockets of time where I can focus in on what it is that I really want to be doing and what I really need to be doing for my business, what I really need to be doing to make me happy and to make my life sustainable. And this is the gift of waking up at 4, having your silent moment, having your Zen moment, having that peace, having that non-distraction, and putting your presence into the physical world. Yeah, more of that. Ooh, and it feels so good. I'm telling you, girl, you should try it. And I'm not gonna say it's easy. I'm not gonna say it's easy. It's hard, okay? But once you get in the groove, you will appreciate it so much. I actually was talking to my assistant the other day, and she was like, you've got to let people know. Some people don't like to journal. You've got to let people know why it's so important to journal, because I have these journals that I sell. We were talking about. By the way, go and get your journal on the blisscode.net. These journals are not like any other journal. They are hardback. If you've been wanting a piece of my original artwork but could not get your hands on the piece, they feature my exclusive original artwork. And not only that, the pages are tear out. So sometimes you want to tear something out. If you're doing like a full moon ritual, tear out, rip up what no longer deserves me sort of thing. Or if you just want to tear it out for some notes, because I use my journal for everything. I'm going to journal in it. I'm going to write my business notes in it. I'm going to write a checkoff list in it and what I need to get done for the day, like a little task list. I just use one book for everything. So it has tabs, it has bookmarks. I love it. Okay. And you will love it too. So check yours out. Get yours at the blisscode.net. Get your journal. But like I said, I was talking to my assistant and she was saying, let people know how important it is that they journal. And I really picked up the habit of journaling from reading The Artist's Way. That was a very pivotal book for me and very focused on, really self-care. All of this stuff that I'm talking about is really like going inward, taking care of yourself. It's all another version of self-care. But when you wake up at 4 a.m., when you take these pockets of silence and have your Zen moment, this is where your journal comes into play. This is where you get these thoughts out, because you cannot keep it in your head. Especially if you're trying to manifest something, oh baby, get it out, say it, speak it, write it. Okay. So you want to keep your quote unquote pocketbook around you with it. Stick it in your purse. Okay. Walk around with your journal. Okay. Or put it in your nightstand. Have it somewhere that's easily accessible nearby, because you have to get those thoughts out. Because when you start to take these Zen moments, these inflow moments, or if you choose to do this 4 a.m. wake up, the ideas, the thoughts, the power, the real you is going to pour in. Okay? I promise you. So let's get into it. Let's get into the 4 a.m. wake up. Hey girl, before you listen to this segment about waking up at 4 a.m., I want to remind you that I am outside recording and there is a little bit of wind that you're going to hear in the background. So bear through the wind and absorb the message. You know, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning is not just about waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Although you could do, some mental work, some energy work around that and use the numbers to help align you to a certain mental frequency. But it's not just about waking up at 4 o'clock. It's about being up before everyone else is up. Bliss Code rule number 1 is silence and self-observation. And 4 a.m. is the optimal time to do this, especially if you're a mother and you've got kids waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, or you've got your spouse waking up early. You've got just distractions everywhere. The traffic starts up at a certain time. 4 a.m. is before all of that noise starts to happen. This is why if you're the type of person that is suffering from ringing in your ears, you can't really hear it until you're about to go to bed. Well, that's because when you're going to bed, the world is shutting down with you. So it's a lot more quiet around you. There's less cars driving by. There's just less activity, period. And so you get an opportunity to hear what you couldn't hear before. And that is the beauty of waking up at 4 a.m. Now, I'm not waking up at 4 a.m. girly. I'm just not, or at least not right now. I have the privilege of my son being 18 years old. So he is completely self-sufficient for the most part. I still got to be the one to buy groceries and all that good stuff. But he doesn't interrupt me in the morning. He does his own thing. He gets off to school. And so I have a lot of open time to be able to have that time for my thoughts to be to myself. So I understand that other women don't have this. And so this is why it is advisable, even if you can't wake up at 4 o'clock, right? Just wake up before everyone else does. So you can have that moment to yourself to think. At least 30 minutes, right? At least 30 minutes before everyone else. And don't turn anything on. Don't get on your phone. Don't turn on the TV. Don't listen to a podcast. Literally self-observe. This is a time for solitude. This is a time for you to see what you're thinking about. See how you feel. See the thoughts that are in your mind, that are in your mind's eye. That's why you need to wake up so early in the morning. There's no magical secret about 4 a.m. It's just the early bird gets the worm, okay? And, I hate to say the early bird gets the worm because it really reminds me of doing. Action. And while action is good, sometimes inaction is great because you get the opportunity to see where your mind is going. But you can use that in a multitude of ways. The early bird gets the worm. It's not just about going out and getting things early, getting something before someone else does. It's about getting, the nugget of information in your mind and having the opportunity to connect with yourself and to connect with your spirituality first thing before anyone else. Because you are the number one most important person in your life. And I know a lot of moms out there, they don't believe this. They believe the number one most important thing in their life is their children. Even if they think this in their mind, they make the number one thing in their life their jobs, their careers. See, because it's not all about what you say out of your mouth all the time, right? As what you think the number one most important thing in your life is. Sometimes your habits, your actions, your energy, your focus is what shows you what's the number one thing in your life. And this is why I love rule number 1 of the Bliss Code. Silence, solitude, self-observation. It gives the opportunity to see, what am I thinking about? What thoughts keep popping up over and over? What are my activities? What is my focus? That focus, that thing that you give your attention to is the thing that's the most important thing in your life. You know, I met a new friend. I love networking. I love building my community. Bliss Code rule number 4, curate your community. I'm telling you, I live my own pillars. And if you want to live a life of greatness, a life that you don't want to take vacation from, then definitely begin to live by these pillars as well. Join us in the Bliss Code Academy, where you'll connect with women who are all about leveling up and who are living the Bliss Code formula. But I met a new friend named Carly Burr, and I know I'm going to have her on the podcast soon. She's actually on YouTube. You should check her out. And she's all about building your offline presence, right? Disconnecting from social media. And it's harder than you would believe. And I brought that up because I thought about, times when you're spending time in solitude and silence, you want to pick something up to get that pleasure hit, to get that dopamine hit. You need a little something. So you reach for your phone. I remember one time downloading this app on my phone that showed me just how much time I spent using my phone, picking up my phone, unlocking my phone. And I'm telling you, every hour that I was awake, I'm talking about 7 to 7 and even longer some days. So 12 hours, more than 12 hours some days, I was on that phone at least once every hour. Do you understand what I'm saying? Every hour I was on that phone, not 7 o'clock on the dot, 8 o'clock on the dot, 9 o'clock on the dot, but during that 1 hour time band, I was on the phone, unlocking the phone, checking the phone, going through the phone, looking at social media, something, texting, calling, something with the phone during every single hour. And that was an eye-opener for me. And you may already know that you do this, but you may not. And again, the beauty of self-observation. When you take the time to go silent, you start to notice, what am I reaching for? What is hardest for me to pull away from? What is the most difficult thing for me not to do? And having that conversation with Carly about building your offline presence just really inspired me to go deeper with it and to start noticing the things that I had some level of addiction to, and that, on the surface, I'm thinking, oh, I can go without this. I mean, hell, I'm the self-help guru. Of course I can. But it's just as hard for me, who practices this as a living, for someone else. It's the same for someone else who doesn't practice this as a living like I do. So I understand how difficult it is. And you want to self-soothe. You want to. You've worked hard in your profession. You've made dinner, breakfast for the kids, whatever, your spouse. You have done so many things throughout the day. You've tried to stay on point. But you need to find other ways to self-soothe. And you'll start doing the things that you actually want to do, that you actually want to pay your attention to, that you actually want to put a focus on, that is and should be the most important thing in your life. Although I loathe the word should, so let's replace that. The things that you know are what you really want to be doing. The things that will drive you forward, that will propel you into this new sense of self, this new direction of your life, this new state of being. So I just had that thought for you, and I wanted to share it because I was practicing silence and self-observation today. And if you've heard any noises in the background, hey, it's because I'm out in nature and there's other people out here. There's other beings moving about, actually living their life and developing their offline presence. So this next segment is dedicated to answering the question, what's different about the Bliss Code? What sets us apart? What are we doing differently? What makes us a cut above the rest? See, this is where most of these self-help organizations fail. They try to sell you a dream of, your entire existence is going to be in the state of a vacation. And I'm not knocking retreats because everybody needs a getaway. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing some retreats, baby. So definitely not knocking a getaway. But the truth is, a person's life and their entire existence is not spent out of town, on a getaway, on vacation. So that's why I immerse people in the experience of being in the everyday, because that's where you're living your life. That's where the meat is. So when I work with my VIP clients, I'm coming and I'm staying in their area. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you how to do this every day for life. And that's also why my academy is evergreen, because I'm constantly uploading new things, new workshops, new ideas, new information taken in, because we should be constantly growing. Oh, girl, that felt like a rant, didn't it? I think it was a little bit, but I'm very passionate about what it is that I do and the way it is that I serve people. So, I have to give you the goods. I have to give you the real, because there's a lot of people out there that are selling you gimmicks, that are selling you quick fixes, that are selling you the latest fad. And it's really not true. And I mean, we can use that for leverage. We can use that as a part of the whole. But you've got to understand that in order to make a shift, you've got to be the shift. In order to have a change in identity, you've got to change your identity. So what are you going to do? How are you going to crank start your quantum leap? What role are you going to play as the actress of that storybook of your life? How are you going to write it? What are you going to do? How are you going to act it out? How are you acting it out right now? So choose. Promise yourself that you're going to be more intentional. You're going to stop letting life select things for you. And you're going to put the things in place, whether it be the 4 a.m. wake up, whether it be you carving out 30 minutes for meditation during the day or 10 minutes of meditation during the day, whatever it is for you to find your zen, to call your you in, more of yourself, more of doing what you want to do, more of putting yourself on a pedestal. Make that intention now. Promise that to yourself now. So girl, let's continue this conversation. Join us in our private community, and it's on Facebook. It's called Seeking Bliss, a global community for women's elevation. You can find us there. Also, if you want to listen into conversations with me and my girlfriends who are other coaches, other business owners, other movers and shakers in the world, then stay tuned because they will be coming up on the Bliss Code podcast. And if you join us in the Facebook group, then you will get to see these podcasts recorded live and you can ask all of your questions. So coming up on the 20th of February, we're actually having 2 live sessions, one with a purpose coach and one with a brand expert. We've got Emily Paulson and Francis Sims in the building, one at 10 a.m. and one at 4. If you can make it to either of those, then you can join us in our Facebook group, Seeking Bliss, a global community for women's elevation. Also, scroll down to the bottom of our homepage at theblisscode.net to find the Valentine's Bliss Tea Bundle. I know Valentine's is over, but we still have a few bundles left. So you can still savor the essence of love. And I'm telling you, I drink this all year round anyway. I do not care. It comes with chocolate covered strawberry tea. It comes with the gold mesh tea infuser spoon. And it comes with a double lid tea storage and display tin, which is very beautiful to have on your countertop to display your tea. Because if you're an aesthetic girly, then you know you can't have it out in the bag. And not only that, there's a preview window in the bag that shows you what the tea looks like, and that exposes your tea to light. So in our inventory, we keep it in a very special cooled closet. But of course, if you're going to keep it out on your countertop, you need to keep it out of the way of light. And this double lid tin is going to do just that for you. And for those of you who are in the book club, yes, the Essentialism Book Club, remember our final meeting is Thursday the 29th at 8 p.m. So if you missed this book club, be sure to join us for our next book club. If you are not subscribed to our website, then you need to head on over to theblisscode.net and do that right now because you are missing out on some exclusive events where we can get to spend time together manifesting the best life we can possibly have. Also, don't forget to sign up for text messaging to get even deeper access to us. And for those of you who are subscribed, I've got something very special coming up for you next week. You know it is a full moon, so we are going to be doing something very special for the new moon with our blue lemon lavender tea. So stay tuned for an announcement about that. This has been another episode of the Bliss Code podcast. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss an episode. And if you're serious about living this lifestyle and immersing yourself in the bliss that you know you deserve, then join us in the Bliss Code Academy or join me for VIP one-on-one at theblisscode.net.